doing, but I haven't done this part before. So I'm doing it now, and I'm grateful to do it now. I just want to say good morning to all of you, and thank you for joining me. I am still doing like trying to invite people on my Instagram because I don't know what I'm doing, but I do. I get it. I get it together in a second. God bless all of you for being here, and let us get started with today. Okay, let's get started. So, it's officially good morning. Today is Thursday already, and I'm really excited to get into today's topic. It is a new topic, but it's something that I have been talking about. So, you shouldn't be too surprised by what the conversation is going to entail. But I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you for taking the time out to tune in to Dr. Tanya live. Before we dive in, there is a scripture verse um, that I have been using every single day since I've started, and that verse is actually Ephesians 2:10. And I use that verse each day because it encourages me. It actually is something that supports me in what I'm doing. Um, and I'm just grateful to be able to share the verse. So here it is. For we are God's workmanship or his masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus to do so that we can do the good things that he planned for us long ago. I just want to say good morning to all of you that are joining me this morning. And so I love that verse because that verse really does ground me, and it just reminds me of how special I am. It reminds me that God has made me and you, all of us, to be very special, right? There is something about each of us that is unique, that is not like anybody else, that is specifically, like uniquely us, right? God made us that way for a specific reason, for a purpose. And so we're not an accident. Those of us that have dreams, dreams to build businesses, dreams to do things that God has designed for us to do, he created us so that we can do those things. And those things are good things and they're good works that we have. And so I want you to walk away understanding who you are, understanding your identity, and that God has plans for you. So do me a favor, those of you that are with me, just share this with your friends, point to the little arrow and let people know that that we're live. And if you are not already following me, I invite you to follow me on my social media platforms and let others know what we're talking about today. Today is day 29 of my 90-day challenge. So every single day, I have challenged myself for 90 days to go live, to show up, to encourage women and sometimes men who are ready to start a business, who have already started a business or looking to get that business off the ground, or who are looking to build and grow what they've already started. So, for those of you who are new here, I'm Dr. Tanya, and this is Dr. Tanya Live, real talk for women and men who are building their businesses. And today's topic is when you say yes. Ooh, that's a good one, right? So, when you say yes, what in the world am I talking about? So, do you have a dream? Do you have something that you know that God has put in your heart that you are supposed to be doing? Is it a business? Is it a book that you're supposed to write? Are you supposed to go back to school? Like, is there something specific that you know God has laid on your heart? And for whatever reason, not because He told you to wait, but for whatever reason, you have not moved on it. You have yet to say yes, but it keeps pulling on you. It keeps, like, you know, hanging on, making you feel like I got to do this thing. Eventually, I'm going to do this thing. I have this dream. I talk to people all the time who say things to me like, I've had this thing that I know God has called me to do, and it won't let me go. It keeps coming back to me. The first time I heard about it, or I felt that God was giving this to me, was the year 20 whatever, or for some people longer than that, 19 whatever. And they literally are just sitting on whatever it is that God has called them to. They're not doing anything with it. Don't know why, but they are not doing anything with it. They have yet to say yes. But what's happening while they are not saying yes, they're really essentially saying no, and by saying no, you are not going to be able to rest. You are not going to be able to rest until you move on the thing that God has called you to. So there are three entrepreneurs that I am either working with currently or have recently worked with that came to mind when I was thinking about this particular topic, because each of them has been carrying or had been carrying a dream for a long time to get a business off the ground. Each of them had ideas that date back to years prior, but none of them had taken the steps to actually make this happen. But it was a thing that kept coming back to them, even though they were working, in their careers, working full-time jobs, raising families, whatever. They kept coming back to this dream that they know God put inside of them. And I think about each of them and the dreams that they were carrying for so long and how long it took for them to finally say yes. And when they finally said yes, how quickly things changed for them. It was pretty amazing, actually. And so each of these women who had these business dreams, they actually, they started working with me. And as they started working with me, they started seeing the possibilities of how the dream that God put inside of them could come into reality, right? And so they all had this idea. There's something that each of them had in common. They all had an idea or a concept of something. They had all been dreaming about it for years. They weren't sure that they could do it, so they lacked confidence about whether or not they could actually build a business. They had no idea of where to begin, and they were scared. That was a big piece of it. All of them were scared and expressed so. And so one day, I don't know what clicked for them, but one day they decided they were going to say yes. I don't know if they just got tired of the dream coming back to them every chance they got. I don't know exactly what caused them to say, yes, I'm going to do this, and I am not going to be afraid anymore. Or even if I'm afraid, I'm going to do it afraid. And so they all set out on this journey, each of them different journeys, separately and apart from one another. But when they said yes to what God had called them to, things started to change. So they said yes to new opportunities. And so by them saying yes, new doors started to open for them. So I think about one of them who actually all three of them happen to have nonprofits. It's interesting. They're not connected to each other in any way, but each of them happen to have nonprofits. And so they started putting things together, the name of their organization, the people that they wanted to have on their board. And people started saying yes to them. When they said yes, others said yes. And then all of a sudden, the ideas just opened up for them in ways that they hadn't even imagined before, because all the while they were saying no, they were blocking themselves from being able to move forward in this thing that God had called them to. And so when they finally said yes, even if they did it with a little bit of apprehension and nerves, which for a couple of them that was the case. In fact, one of them had even said that they didn't believe that they would be able to actually launch their business. They just didn't have the confidence. And it was someone who was extremely confident in other areas of her life, right? But when she said yes, she she actually just took off. She was diligent. She was committed. Like, saying yes actually changes our mindset and changes our heart towards the thing that God has called us to do. So, what about you? What do you need to say yes to? And do you even know what's on the other side of you saying yes? Saying yes to God and to the dream that He has given to you actually is an act of faith. When we say yes, we are taking a step of faith in the direction that God has called us to. And for many of us, that is not an easy thing to do. What about you? Like, are you going to say yes, or have you recently said yes to what it is that God has called you to? And in saying yes, what have you noticed shifted? What has changed in your movement, in your saying yes, in your taking this act of faith? When I think about these three ladies that I was just sharing, they each started to feel a level of satisfaction and direction and calm and peace about their decision to say yes. Because when God gives us something, He's not going to set us on a journey of confusion. When God gives us something and we say yes to what He has given us and we move on it, He is going to give us a peace, a level of peace about it, because it's the thing that He wants. The enemy has been at work all along trying to stop us from moving in the thing that God has, whispering lies to us, telling us that we can't do it, saying that we're not capable enough or strong enough or smart enough or wealthy enough or whatever it is that the enemy can say that can stop you, confident enough, whatever it is. And so some people don't move, don't say yes because they have allowed the enemy to whisper lies in their ears. They have allowed those whispers to be so loud that is paralyzing, that it causes you to procrastinate, to say, okay, I'll get to it tomorrow. Like, Lord, I know you gave me this thing that you want me to do, but I can't do it yet. I'm not ready yet. That is something that I've heard so many people talk about, like their readiness. They just don't feel ready. Readiness doesn't just happen to you. Readiness comes with a commitment and a decision. We can't be in a place of indecision because that actually is a decision too. Being in the place of indecision keeps us paralyzed and keeps us bound and confused and not moving forward. We can't move forward when we are in a place of indecision. But when we make the decision and we make the decision to say yes to what God has, on the other side of that yes is a level of confidence that you didn't even know you had. That's what I saw in those three women. Not only did they have a new level of confidence, but they shut down that inner critic that kept trying to tell them that they couldn't do it. That kept trying to tell them that they were not really confident, that they weren't ready enough to be able to do that. The same thing can happen for you. When you say yes to what God has called you to, you are opening up possibilities that you probably never even dreamed of, possibilities that you may not have imagined for yourself because you were stuck behind indecision, behind no, behind fear, behind procrastination, behind all the things that stood in the way of your fears of people's opinions, not having enough money, whatever it is. We will put ourselves in boxes and declare that we cannot move out of these boxes. But that is not how God has designed us. He gave us these gifts. I spent 2 days talking about the gifts that God has given to us. And those gifts are for a particular purpose. And for many of us, that purpose is centered around a business that God would have us to build. And so when we say yes to that, then all of a sudden the vision for that becomes clearer. So, what I have found in working with these women is that once they said yes, it's like they opened up something in their own minds that allowed them to be able to see long term what the vision of their business could be, the vision of the dream that God put inside of them, what that could be. And it gave them a sense of determination that they did not have previously. What I found with these women was that as they said yes, that that they left doubt behind. Now, it didn't mean that they were totally confident in the very beginning, but the more they started working on the dream, the more they started building the business that God had put inside of them, the more they began to leave that doubt behind, the more confident they became, the more they realized that they were getting closer to solving problems and helping other people transform their lives. Like I said, each of them happened to have nonprofits. And I'm just honing in on these three in particular because of the hesitation that they had for so long to actually say yes. And so, like, saying yes for them really was like this aha opportunity for them. It was like it opened up ideas that they didn't even realize they had. It opened up possibilities that they didn't know were available to them. It really did open them up to something that they did not expect was going to be theirs. And so now they're actually moving. So there are different paces, there are different places in their business. So, one of them, for example, has already launched the business, and the business is already getting traction. Has done, events, and people now know that they exist. The other one has been, moving further and further along on her journey, um, and has launched that business. Then the third one that I'm thinking about is in the planning process, but that person is the newest one that I've been working with. And so in the planning process, her saying yes has actually like shown her that she can do it. Like in the beginning, she was holding on to this for so long. She didn't know that she could actually do it. And so when she said yes, it was like, I can do this. I even had her look back on from the day that she first started working with me to where she is today and write out all the things that she's accomplished in just a few short sessions. And she was even amazed at how much she accomplished and learned about herself as a new business owner or or an aspiring business owner, and also about business itself. Like she had no idea that she could actually do this. But when we say yes, we begin the journey of doing something that God has designed and called us to do. Something that maybe people have been waiting for us to do. Like, depending on what your business is, there are people out there who need what you have. There are ideas that you have that are going to solve problems for people who are out there. And you have to say yes because they're waiting for you. Other people are waiting for the transformation that your yes is going to bring. And so you can't sit any longer on this thing that God has given to you. Remember, if he's given it to you, he's already provided a way for you to be able to do it. And if you're dealing with fears and challenges, that's okay. He knows that, but that's when we have to trust him. We have to lean on him and depend on him. He's going to direct our path because he said so. His word said that he's going to direct us. We don't have to lean on our own understanding. In fact, our own understanding is not going to be enough when we are starting out as new entrepreneurs and we're starting out doing things. We need him to guide us, to direct us to the individuals that are going to support us, to direct us to the information and the resources that are available to us for us to be able to launch these businesses and to fulfill these dreams that God put inside of us. That's what happens when we say yes and we trust God in the process, because trusting God gives us an assurance that things are going to be all right because He's not going to leave us. And if He's given this to us, He is going to ensure that the right doors open, that the right people are drawn to us and drawn to the transformation that our new businesses are going to bring. He is going to ensure that the right people hear about what we have so that they can support us, because sometimes we need people who are going to invest in what we're going to do. I was just thinking about how my business partner and I are, embarking upon another venture. And she was just sharing with somebody about, some of what we need to be able to get this venture going. And that person said, "Hey, I'll invest in what you're doing," and then I shared it with somebody else who was like, "Hey, ask me. Ask ask us. We will invest, ask us to invest." So it's like you don't know it when you say yes and you open your mouth and let people know, God will put the right people in your path who are going to be a blessing to you as you get this business off the ground. Because starting a business, like I said, is difficult. it's risky. I didn't say that today, but I've said that in earlier lives. It's risky. It's if you've never been an entrepreneur before, it's a lot of unknowns. You really can't predict everything that's going to happen. And some of the things are not in your hands. But you have a responsibility as an entrepreneur. Once you say yes and you take that step and you move along in that journey, you have a responsibility to fulfill what it is that God has called you to. And in doing so, He is going to give the increase. So He expects you to plant the seeds, whatever the seeds look like for you in your business, plant the seeds, water the seeds even, or other people could come and come alongside you and water those seeds for you, and He will bring the increase. But we have to do the work. So it's not necessarily an easy task, but it is a worthwhile task. When we say yes, there is a level of satisfaction that comes with that yes, because we know that we're doing the thing that God has called us to. And so all the worry that we've had or all the doubts that we've had, they really do diminish and they go away simply because we are walking in faith. That walk of faith builds that level of confidence that we didn't even know we had inside of us. And so you have a responsibility to say yes so that you can begin that journey. It is a journey of faith. And so as you are journeying through this faith walk, you've got to depend on God. You've got to trust Him for direction. You've got to trust Him for ideas, and He will give you the ideas. He's the one that gives us the ability to create wealth. And wealth can come, you can talk to all kinds of experts in the wealth and finance industry, and I am not one of those people, but I have listened to a lot of them, and they all will tell you that you are not going to build wealth from a 9 to 5 job. It's not really that possible to do. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't live satisfied and content, but if God puts something inside of you, you're not going to be content and you're not going to be satisfied until you move on what He has called you to do. And when you say yes, He is going to bless you. He is going to bless your yes. Ooh, that rhymes. I wasn't planning to say that, but He's going to bless your yes because you're saying yes to what He's given you. You're saying yes to what He put inside of you. That's big. That's a big deal. That is something that you can't, that we don't, I don't take that for granted when you say yes. And I'm sure that God doesn't take that for granted either. It really is an act of faith, though. And so for me, when I think about what it means to do this thing and walk it by faith, it means that we are walking it. So we're not still, we're not, doing nothing. We are moving forward. That's what the yes brings with it. It brings movement. So there's a commitment that comes when you say yes, there's a decision that you've made when you say yes, and then there's movement. And so imagine you say yes today to what God has called you to. Do you know where you could be in 90 days? In 90 days, you could be launching a brand new business. It's possible. I'm here to tell you because, excuse me, I have worked with women who have launched businesses after 90 days of working with me. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do it on your own because you absolutely can. It could be that 6 months from now, you're launching a brand new business. If there's a book inside of you that God has put in your spirit to write, that is also a business, and you need to get started writing it. Here's something that I often say to people, especially people who are procrastinators and who have taken a long time to say yes to what God has called them to. One of the things that I'll say to them is set a date. Set a date 6 months from now, or 9 months from now, or 3 months, or 12 months, or whatever. Set a date for when you are going to launch. If it's a book that you're writing, set a date for when you are going to have a book signing. Set a date for when that book is going to be published. Set a date for when that business is going to be launched, when you are going to be open for people to come and buy products and services that you offer. Really, they're buying transformation because the service or the product that you are offering ideally is solving a problem. And because it's solving a problem, it is going to cause some type of transformation for the individuals that purchase from you and that buy your product and that buy your service. Saying yes is also you opening yourself up to learn because this journey is a learning process, especially if you're a brand new entrepreneur or a brand new author and you've never done this before. There's a lot to learn in this process. And it's not something that you have to shy away from, run away from, or be scared of. It is something that I encourage you to embrace this learning process. You are going to make mistakes. We all do. It's not going to be a perfect journey. There are going to be challenges, even if you say yes. But when you don't say yes, you still have challenges. You still have trouble. Still, things still aren't perfect. So saying yes doesn't take that away. It just now gives you an opportunity to depend more on God, and as we depend more on him, we find strength in that dependence because we know that we are not alone. We know we're not walking this by ourselves. And so as you're going through this journey of building this business and saying yes, there are some other things that come with that. You have an opportunity to change a generation because you are now putting yourself in a position to leave an inheritance for those who come behind you, to leave a legacy for those who come behind you. You have an opportunity to employ people. And by employing people, you are um, helping their livelihood, helping them be able to keep a roof over their head or helping them to be able to eat. Um, you are able to earn the kind of revenue that allows you to be able to fund the kingdom. So I think about all the things that I want to do as a multi millionaire. I'm not there yet, but I am on the journey to that. And even as I get there, there are things that I already know I want to help support. There are people that I want to support. There are individuals um who have businesses that I want to invest in. There are people who have needs that I want to be able to meet. And that comes with me saying yes. Your saying yes gives you an opportunity to do something for somebody outside of your circle or even people within your circle. I mean, maybe there are people in your family that you can bless because you've said yes to what God put inside of you. It's time for you to stop procrastinating and stop putting things off, which is really procrastination, and to say yes, because on the other side of that yes is a blessing that God has for you. And the satisfaction that comes with your saying yes by starting this journey of entrepreneurship, by writing the book that God has put inside of you, by doing whatever the dream, fulfilling the dream that God has given to you, whatever that is, your saying yes will change your future and the future of those that you are going to touch, whose lives are going to change, whose transformation will come because of what you've done and because of your saying yes. So I encourage you to say yes. I encourage you to take that step of faith, depend on God through this journey because you're not going to have all the answers, and to connect with the people that are going to support you. Connect with the people that can guide you, that can help you along the way. I'm one of those people. Connect with me. I'll support you. I'll help you as you go along your journey. I do that all the time. But some of us are afraid. Fear is real. Fear stands in the way of so much of what God has called us to do. Many of us haven't said yes because of fear. That's real. I understand that. I have helped a lot of women process through and work through the fear that stands in the way of them being able to do the thing that God has called them to do. But I also have something that could help you with that fear, something that's free and something that'll cost just a little bit. I have a 10-day devotional. It's called When Fear Knocks. I would love for you to pick it up. Go on my website, tanyabreland.com, and you can get that resource. And it is interactive. It allows you to be able to work through those 10 days on your device. It saves everything that you put in there. Nobody can see it. It's private only to you. I can't see it, nothing like that. But then I also have an additional resource for people who are struggling with fear. Fear is so real, it is debilitating. It will stop you from doing whatever God has called you to do until you tackle it and you face it and you name it and you address it. And so I want to help you with that. And I have a resource called I already told you about When Fear Knocks, a resource that's called Fear is Not Your Business Plan. It is an ebook and there is an interactive companion that goes along with that ebook that really helps you dive deep into the fears that you are struggling with. But it also gives you a roadmap for how you can come away from and move away from those fears so that you can walk in the calling. That's also available on my website, tanyabreland.com. I've come to the end of my half hour. I tend to do this every morning or whenever I do it, but every day for about a half hour. I am going to come back here again tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. I would love for you to join me. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about answering the call to business. It really is going to be a follow up and a build from where we were today with your saying yes. But if anything that I said resonated with you, please reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. You can inbox me, you can message me, you can shoot me an email, Tanya@tanyabreland.com, and that's Tanya with an O, Tony. I do read all of my messages. You can visit my website, tanyabreland.com. You can contact me via my website. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Until then, I pray that you have a blessed day, that you will say yes to what God has called you to, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 8:30. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great rest of your day.